Hey, my name is Maria. Welcome to my channel. In this video, I'm going to be talking about how the bad things that happen in your life, how they're for your good, or how at least they can be for your good. All things can turn around. I've been through a lot in my life. Some things that I'll probably not share, well, I guess until I'm ready, but I've spoken on a lot of things briefly in previous videos, like having daddy issues. I've mentioned becoming homeless. I've mentioned betrayal, childhood. You know, you can read between the lines and all kind of things. And these things could have destroyed me. It could have been really horrific. There's been times where I didn't even want to be here anymore. I thought of ending it all. And now when I look back at everything that I've been through, even though of course it's not good, these situations are never good, but I feel like it's all molded my character and all work together to make me the kind of woman that I am now. Have you noticed some of the greatest, successful, whatever you want to call it, people in this world, many of them have the most, I guess, horrific or tragedy stories, like some of these mega actors or musicians or whatever. When you look back into their history or you watch their interviews and you find out about their childhood, some of these people went through nonsense. I'm talking witnessing all kinds of abuse, whether it be physical, domestic, drug abuse, being treated anyhow by their parents, being bullying. Like many of these people, especially for example comedians, many of these top tier comedians, they will tell you out of their own lips that they grew up being bullied. Many of these people that become great in life, they'll say how people didn't believe in them and how they went through all kinds of horrific things. Like your story, anything, whatever you've been through, one day will be someone else's healing. It will be a testimony for someone else. You are a testimony. There's nothing new under the sun. There'll be people out there who have been through the exact same thing that you've been through, who felt like giving up, like, oh, they're never going to become anything in life. And then you tell your story, what you've been through, how you overcame. And then through you, they can see the light that, oh, if they did it, I can do it too. If they became great in spite of all these barriers, I can too. I don't know about you, but the most inspirational stories usually come from people that have some sort of, should I say, tragedy or something in the background. I'm not sure if that's the right term. Like, of course, there's nothing wrong with being born into a good life, a blessed life, you know, where maybe you have things, like some people are born with like a golden spoon, silver spoon, something like that. And of course, that's not their fault. At one point in time, you could argue that even I had the gold spoon or the silver spoon. Lost everything though, but that's a story for another day. But for the most part, that's not relatable or attainable to the average person. And it's usually, at least for me personally, when I read stories of people that had all odds stacked against them, and yet they still excelled, they still reached the top. Those are the ones that touch me the most. Like, I remember reading something the other day. It was like this boy, he's in the States. I'm not sure which state specifically, but I believe he lives in like a homeless shelter. And guys, guess what? He came out valedictorian, the top grades in his high school. Do you know how inspirational that is? If he was just your everyday average person, you know, these things that we take for granted, having his own house, and he came up on top, you'd still applaud him and say like, oh yeah, that's great. But the fact that this man was actually living in a homeless shelter and he got grades that were better than people who had the privilege of their own house. What an inspiration. And there's even another story I remember reading here in the UK, where I believe Oxford University, which is the best university, I believe, in the UK and the whole world. I think it's higher ranked than Harvard as well, I'm not sure. But there's a professor, and he has like, I believe, autism, and he didn't learn how to read until he was 18, guys. And now he's become the youngest professor in Oxford. And I believe the only professor of a background like his. That is so inspirational. Being illiterate till 18 years old. You watching this, your story can be really great. And this is why I want to encourage some people to start sharing their testimony. If you're not ready, I understand. But if there's even little snippets you could let other people know, you don't know how you could inspire other people with your story and what you've been through. There's some people who feel like giving up, ending it all now. But when they hear your story, what you've been through, and yet in spite of it all, the kind of person you've become now, it's going to give them hope. It'll make them want to stay here another day longer. You are so needed. You are so loved, and you are here with an intention and with a purpose. And one thing that I will say, you can't let what you've been through turn you bitter and angry and disgruntled. I understand we can all have our different traumas in our lives, that we can all have our moments of, being bitter or whatever. But there's some people I've come across in this life, it's like, you can tell it's completely overtaken their heart. Like, the heart is so hardened. They've literally become a human embodiment of bitterness. Like, if bitterness was a person, it would be them. They're so angry, I can't describe it. I've encountered some people like that. And that's what happens when you don't heal from your traumas, when you become so consumed with what you've been through, and that now it literally overtakes you. That's an intolerable person. You'll push everyone away. No one will want to be around that 24/7, No one can deal with that. You don't want to be that person, that bitter person, always angry at the world, angry at everyone, see someone else successful, it bothers you. Like, come on, guys. I want you to know, regardless of what your life circumstances may look like now, things 100% can change in the future. They really can. You just also need to start by changing your mindset. Instead of looking at it like, oh, boohoo me, things are never going to change, blah, blah, blah. Look at it like, yes, I've been through all this stuff, and everything that I've been through is going to be a mighty testimony to the nations one day. It will be, because you're great. I'll even use my case for instance. I've talked about struggling with friendships, not having friends, rejection, and all that sort. And I went from that to now having hundreds of people online that love me. Who would have known that would happen? I believe I'm the least person you'd expect this to happen to. I was never popular in school, never well known, never nothing. Now people around the world are tuning in to watch my videos and they say they actually like me. And are saying, where have you been all my life? I wish we were friends. Things can turn around. Things can turn around. Things will turn around. And also, it might sound crazy, but sometimes God may allow certain events, not that he did it, but he may permit certain things to happen in our lives, and it will all work together in order to push us, to get us to where we need to be, to get us to that next level. Because sometimes when life is very easy, everything's going smoothly, we can stay sheltered and hidden away. We don't want to, take leaps of faith, but sometimes it takes extremities happening in our life to force us to get out of our place of comfort and put ourselves out there and walk into our destiny. I really hope whoever needs to see this message today will see it. Bye, guys.